IVM.
Hi, and welcome to Smile India. I'm your host Shifa, and today I have for you great news from across the nation. So let's dive in and drive away your Monday blues. Ganesh Chaturthi is here, and this is the biggest festival in Maharashtra for sure. What's wonderful is that this year, in the new normal, everyone is celebrating the festival sensibly. Some big pandals have deferred celebrations by a year, and most people are now keeping the festivities low-key. In some wards, the BMC has started a Visarjan app where citizens can book a slot and come with their idol to an artificial pond and do the rituals. This will prevent crowds and help maintain social distancing. Another great initiative is a pond on wheels, where residents of Dadar, Mahim and Dharavi can call a designated number and the authorities will come in a truck with an artificial pond in it. So this time the beaches will be cleaner, I'm hoping. Lots of home chefs are making Maharashtrian delicacies and selling them online, which is great. Of course it's different, but hasn't this year taught us that change is the only constant? Now let me tell you an interesting piece of trivia that I just learned about. That most of the heritage toy trains in the country that we love were actually set up to transport tea from tea gardens to the towns close by. Darjeeling Himalayan Railway was the first mountain railway in India and was established to transport tea from Darjeeling to Assam. Similarly, in the south, the toy train began from Mettupalayam to Kannur, the tea country, and then up to Ooty. The Darjeeling and Nilgiri railways are now UNESCO World Heritage Sites. What's noteworthy is that in 1901, the Indian Tea Association put up posters on railway stations across the country sharing tea recipes. Before that, Indians did not always fancy tea. So the tea board sent trained people to make tea in trains with local spices, and people were introduced to it and fell in love with tea. I honestly can't imagine life without tea. Anurag Tiwari is an 18-year-old from a village called Sarsan in Uttar Pradesh. He's now going to study at the Cornell University, one of the most prestigious in the world, where only 10% of those who apply get in. No, his moneybag's father has not pulled any strings. He comes from a farmer's family with modest means. He was good at his studies, and a local teacher helped him apply to Vidya Gyan, a trust that takes on deserving children from lower income groups. That changed his life. The boy scored 98.2% in his class 12 CBSE boards, and the Shiv Nadar Trust helped him apply to Cornell, the Ivy League college he wished to study economics at. The college considered his case and gave him a 100% scholarship. Anurag will be the first person from his village to go abroad to study. That will happen next year in fall, but next month his online classes begin, and among his professors are Nobel Prize winners. When someone's so focused on making their dreams come true, the universe truly plays on their side, as Anurag has shown us. Another person who has pushed the envelope is Preeti Priyadarshini. The young lady is the first female superintendent of police in Pithoragarh, Uttarakhand. She's already a force to reckon with, given her efficient handling of the COVID situation in her district. People who were flouting norms were dealt with immediately, and the number of defaulters lessened. The locals were not used to taking orders from a woman, and that too someone so much younger. But Preeti had the support of her team, and they've managed to ensure social distancing even in markets. She personally looks into what people need. Like she sent essentials to a family where a woman had just had a baby. Only ration would not suffice, she knew. Her husband is a police officer too, and she's glad that their son sees them dividing parental duties. More power to Preeti and other dedicated officers across the country. Now, before I sign off, here's something I heard my husband say that struck a chord. The smartest man in the room these days is the man who does not leave the room. Totally, it makes sense staying home and stepping out only when necessary. Keep staying home and stay safe. We can all party in the PV year. PV? Go figure. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on IVM Network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, it's at Shifa Maitra on Instagram and Twitter. I will see you soon with a new episode of Smile India.
I hope you enjoyed that show.
So another really fun week on the network. I don't know if you saw this, but Varun Thakur was on Advertising is Dead. That was a really, really fun episode. Besides that, we've had some great guests all over the place. We had Ram Madhvani on Cyrus Says. We had Saurav Mukherjee, a legend in the finance space. He was on Paisa Vaisa. He and Anupam co-written a book, so definitely do check out that episode and go buy their book too. I mean, that would be another great thing to do. Uncle Please It had a really, really cool episode with hosts of our other show, Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Anirudh and Janice. They were talking about celebrity culture and how that's progressed for the last few years. And yeah, it's just been a really, really great week. One episode I did want to shout out. A couple of weeks ago, Pulyabazi did an episode which was just amazing. They were talking about the letters between Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore. Do check those out. Those were really good. And with that, hope to see you again next week.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.